Hey, here we go, back at it again. Another episode on horse race bets as we get you going into the weekend. Now, this weekend is probably the most unique weekend because we're going to deal with a track that we don't usually deal with on a regular basis, but the racing there is outstanding. It's extremely competitive and value. Woodbine is the location this weekend. Great card with the King's Plate coming up. That's where we're going to start, and that's where we're going to stay. Let's go. Woodbine, the $1 million King's Plate coming up Saturday, going a mile and a quarter on the synthetic, 13 runners in here. And we've got a little bit of everything. You know, Mansetti to the inside is a horse that has some early speed. We'll see if they want to be forwardly placed in here. Scorching also has a little early speed to offer. You know, Runaway Again, the 7, is extremely intriguing because it's a horse that just came off the maiden victory, but oh my God, crushed them in that maiden debut. So debuted going a mile and a 16th over the turf and just ran them off the track. But now we're in against really top-notch competition. But the fact that they put that horse in this race makes it intriguing. I don't think the 7 can win, but I think it's intriguing. The 8, DeWolf, was in a really nice spot in the plate trial, just couldn't quite get there. Watsonville Red is a deep closer. So then you have the horses that are probably going to figure a bit more in the pace. No Time's got some early speed. Tom's Magic probably wants to be there. Sedbury's Ghost was your winner last time out, and so they're going to be coming from off the pace. They were just ahead of a horse that I like quite a bit in this race that got a bad trip, but I think they'll be able to turn the tables. And that's Notorious Gangster. 9-2 on the morning line. A runner that I think is going to love the mile and a quarter. Shouldn't have a problem with it. Will get just enough to run at, and as long as they don't have traffic like they had last time, which they could in a 13-horse field, but if they can stay out of trouble, Notorious Gangster, I think, is going to be in the perfect spot. Perfect, great conditioning, great running style, should have a setup. That's where we go. Just got to get the value there in the King's Plate, the 3, Notorious Gangster. Moving on to the Grade 3 Bold Venture. That is also Saturday at Woodbine. 6.5 furlongs on the synthetic, 8 runners in here. So what we have is Simcoe's the speed. Play me a tune there with Johnny V. Also, it wants to push a little bit. And then we have a runner that's going to sit just off of that pace. We don't want a deep closer in this race because there's not a tremendous amount of speed. But there is enough for someone who wants to sit comfortably, and that is Ice Shakalot. Ice Shakalot's a runner that's been doing most of their damage going longer on the turf course. But just go back and look at the one time they had a chance to go synthetic at Woodbine in the past 2 years. They went in the 6 furlong Kennedy Road, and that was a very nice performance. And they were just fighting in the stretch, and they just came up short. It was a really nice performance. I like the way they sat just off the pace. The exact same trip wins them the Grade 3 Bold Venture, and we get value. 6-1 morning line, we'll get that, maybe even higher. At the lowest, 9-2. Then we go to the actual Grade 1 E.P. Taylor Stakes. And then this one's a mile and a quarter on the turf for this Grade 1 event. And in here, you've got a favorite that's going to be really tough to deal with. She feels pretty, does whatever she wants, and what she wants to do is beat you. And that's what she does. But there's no value, so I can't play her as her 3-5 favorite. As much as I love Johnny V and everything he does, I can't do it. So I'm going to beat him with a European horse that's got all the back class. Diamond Rain will be coming to Woodbine for the first time. Is a runner that mile and a quarter, that means nothing to her. She does that in her sleep. I think she's going to be ready to go for Godolphin with Appleby and Buick. Third off the layoff, getting back or going a mile and a quarter again. Man, now on the turf course, I just think we're probably not going to get 6-1. Even though She Feels Pretty gets all the support, I think other players will be looking to do exactly what I'm looking to do. Try to beat her with value and class. And Diamond Rain is that in the E.P. Taylor Stakes. Let's hope we get a good trip. And if we do, we'll be right there in the mix. So that's how we will tackle the Saturday action from Woodbine. But you've got to kind of prep yourself for the track, right? See how the track's playing, see how your handicapping is working, and if you feel good about your angles. So you got to play a little bit before, right? You got a big day on Saturday. You got to play on Friday. That's what we're going to do. There is a race coming up on Friday at Woodbine. It is race number 7, and they're going 6.5 on the turf. They've got quite a few runners. Look, these runners are coming out of some common races, and a couple of them in this race come out of the same race. But this particular runner that I like has that thing where if you trip handicap, and you'll watch this, go back and watch the last race for this runner I'm going to show you. Trapped, could not find anywhere to go, and you could see that they were loaded and full of run. And by the time they got a seam, everybody else was coming, and they end up being fourth. But the runner I'm talking about is Next Pitch. Next Pitch is the 10 in this race. And Next Pitch was sitting in a perfect spot up against the rail. They shifted out to the 2 path, and they tried to go through that hole. The leader moved over to that hole, so then they shifted back to the rail. And then, once you do that, now the other runners to the outside have the momentum, and they go right by you. That's what happened with Next Pitch. Now, the question is, the old saying, was that hole moving faster than the horse? You know what I mean? The hole that she was trying to go through, was that hole moving faster than her? I don't think so. I think she was blocked and she just couldn't get through. And now they'll have the chance to do that, and we'll get outstanding value. I think this is a live price play. Race 7, Woodbine. Right there, the 10 Next Pitch coming up on Friday. That's our play of the day. That's how we pad the bankroll and get everything going into the weekend so we can really get down on Saturday at Woodbine. There's also more action from Woodbine that we'll talk about coming up in tomorrow's show. And the Del Mar Oaks is coming up as well. We have great racing. So much good stuff coming up. We're going to jump into that. That's going to happen next show. But for now, focus on these races at Woodbine, and let's really get this money in the Friday play of the day. All right, that's going to do it for us. In the meantime, in between time, and until next time, we'll see you here on Horse Race Bets. I'm Ken Rudulph. Hey, good luck and enjoy whatever you're into.